Hey everyone, welcome back. You know how much we love to get into the nitty-gritty here.
Absolutely.
Well, get ready because today we're taking a deep dive into something that's really got me thinking.
Okay.
We're talking about why children from those super wealthy families, you know, the ones raking in $1 million a year,
yes.
why they seem to be drawn to studying, of all things, art and philosophy.
Interesting. Yeah, you'd think with all that,
Pressure.
exactly.
To go for something a little more, shall we say,
Practical.
practical, yeah, like high finance or something in that realm, right?
Right.
But the source we're digging into today suggests that, well,
There's a whole other story.
there's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah,
Like way more than meets the eye.
definitely.
So first off, what really struck me was this idea of, or the lack thereof, the lack of pressure. These kids, they're growing up in a world where, let's face it, financial security is a given.
It's a given, yeah.
It's like they've already won the lottery, right?
Right.
So instead of stressing over a career that's going to guarantee them, massive paycheck,
Yeah.
they've got the freedom to just follow their passions,
Explore.
explore, to really dive into art and philosophy just for the love of it.
And that actually ties into what the source says about how these fields, they kind of cultivate a different way of thinking.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not about learning a trade in the classic sense.
Right.
Instead, it's about honing these critical thinking skills.
Oh, I like that.
Their ability to analyze, to interpret, to create.
Yeah.
And the source makes this argument that in our world today, a world that's constantly changing these skills, they might be even more valuable than any sort of specific job training.
It's like future-proofing your brain almost.
Exactly.
Yeah, but here's where things get really, really interesting.
Yeah.
And honestly, maybe a little bit
Unsettling.
unsettling.
Yeah.
The source dives into this whole concept of social gatekeeping. It's suggesting that for the ultra-wealthy, art and philosophy, they become these markers of social distinction,
Markers.
like almost a cultural currency within their super elite circles.
It's like a secret handshake.
Yes. It's like, you know
The code.
the code. Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about it, right? We've got these exclusive art auctions.
Yeah.
The invitation-only philosophy symposium.
The ones you hear whispers about.
The whispers. They aren't just events. They're
Opportunities.
opportunities.
Yeah.
To network, to solidify your place within this very, very specific stratum of society.
Absolutely. And the source is arguing that art and philosophy in this context, they almost become
Like signals.
signals of belonging to this elite group.
It's like a badge of honor almost.
In a way, yeah.
And that leads us to, I think, the most thought-provoking idea in all of this.
Oh, okay.
The influence these families actually wield over the art world, and maybe even over philosophy itself.
Interesting.
The source highlights how they actually have the power to shape, to mold our very perceptions
Our perceptions of...
of what's valuable and what's not.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
The source gives this really striking example.
Oh,
An 8-year-old's artwork selling for $20,000.
wow.
That just blows apart our typical understanding of value, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
It makes you stop and think, like, who gets to decide what's considered good art?
Right.
Is it purely about aesthetics, or is there something else going on here?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
It really does.
Like, are we being influenced without even realizing it?
Exactly. It's almost like they're playing a different game
A different game.
with a whole different set of rules,
And everyone else is kind of trying to catch up.
trying to catch up. And the source is saying that this goes way beyond just the art world.
Oh.
Think about luxury goods.
Luxury goods, yeah.
Their value, it's largely defined
By the elite.
by the elite.
So it's like they're setting the trends.
They're setting the trends, creating this almost aspirational pull, even for people who have worked incredibly hard
To build their own wealth.
to build their own wealth. Exactly.
That's fascinating.
We often think of achieving wealth as this way to, like, break free
To break free.
from these systems of influence.
To make your own rules.
But this source is suggesting that those systems, they're way more pervasive.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
More than we realize.
And we realize, yeah.
Wow.
So to kind of sum it all up, this source is making a pretty strong case
Okay.
that this attraction, this pull that wealthy families have towards art and philosophy,
It's not as simple as it seems.
it's not as simple as it seems. It's not just about being able to afford it.
Right.
It's about freedom. It's about cultivating this different kind of intellectual capital, this
This unique way of
way of thinking. And it's potentially about
particle signaling.
social signaling and even wielding influence.
Wow, it's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot to unpack.
And it all makes me think, if the wealthy are the ones shaping, our aesthetic values,
Yeah.
and even the way we talk about philosophy,
Yeah.
The discourse.
how can we become more aware of that, of those influences?
That's a big question.
It is. And how can we develop our own judgments about art, about value, even about
What success means.
what success even means?
That's such a great question.
I don't know if there's an easy answer.
No. But it's something we should all be thinking about.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're all about here, right? Getting you thinking.
Thinking critically.
Thinking critically. So we've only just scratched the surface today.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Just the tip of the iceberg. So keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and see where it leads you.
And let us know what you discover.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.